Welcome to the first video on this channel. I do not want this to be as ranty as it might end up being, and for that I'm sorry. With that said, this video is going to be focusing on the past week of the WWE, leading up to this upcoming episode of SmackDown, including the WWE Draft, which will finish next week on Monday. So we're picking up from the first ever episode of SmackDown on Fox, and taking up the segments on that show, and then on Raw, hopefully, all the way to now. So we start off with the results of SmackDown. The Rock and Becky Lynch dropped Baron Corbin to kick off Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair defeat Bayley and Sasha Banks. The Fiend Bray Wyatt once again struck Seth Rollins. Once again, operative word there. Kevin Owens defeated Shane McMahon in a ladder match to terminate Shane. Tyson Fury had to be held back from going after Braun Strowman following an 8-man tag team match. Roman Reigns defeated Eric Rowan in a lumberjack match. Brock Lesnar, in the main event, defeated Kofi Kingston to win the WWE Championship before Cain Velasquez emerged and took down the Beast. So, the first segment. I'd like to preface this by saying that I do not hate Baron Corbin. I think he's gained a lot of respect during this whole King of the Ring run where he won. I think he changed his stance from being a X-Pac Heat heel to being a legitimate heel, at least transitioning toward that. I'd no longer want him to simply go away whenever he shows up, which was the case for the majority of his heel run. But now, I don't think he's a loser. But apparently, the company thinks he's still a loser, or should be booked that way. Of course, WWE doesn't consider him a loser because they had him win the damn thing, King of the Ring. But this first segment of SmackDown was so weird, so fan servicey. So Becky Lynch comes out, and you have the biggest star on the entire roster coming out. Everyone's cheering, rightfully so. She's awesome. And she comes out and thanks the fans for their support, which has seen her break the brass ceiling, break through barriers and everything. Typical babyface. I sort of miss how Becky Lynch was right after SummerSlam 2018. I know her character has changed and what the character is entirely babyface now, but there's very little edginess. There's just edginess in her interactions with heels or other competitors that she's going to vanquish. I just miss that aspect to her character. That's it. And then Baron Corbin interrupts her, which I was kind of excited about that because I thought he would be in a position to play off of Becky Lynch and, be a good barometer for his mic skills against Becky Lynch's, which she's a great talker. But the problem is that because they're not in the same division, they can't be men, women, but because of that, you don't have any mode of conflict resolution. Baron Corbin will never have a match against Becky Lynch, one-on-one. And in any verbal matches, WWE typically books their heels to be complete losers, which is what Baron Corbin came off as you will see. Long story short, before Baron Corbin utters a word, The Rock comes out, does his shtick, his lovely shtick. I completely get why he was brought in. Great occasion. The Rock has come back home. Lovely. No problem with that. But then Rock and Becky Lynch apparently have this bromance going on. Apparently The Rock specifically wanted to work opposite Becky Lynch for this segment. Makes sense. But they had this bromance going on and they completely destroyed Baron Corbin on the mic. They had a STD chant going against him, and then you had The Rock and Becky Lynch completing each other's sentences. The Rock basically also servicing Becky Lynch's character in a way. Becky Lynch was making testicle jokes at Baron Corbin's expense. You know that any segment that has the line, "My testicles are adequate," or something, I'm paraphrasing, that sort of segment should not happen. That's just poor booking, poor writing. Why do you need that? I thought Baron Corbin could actually get some good lines in, actually benefiting from being in the same ring as The Rock and Becky Lynch. He just made those empty claims that I'm the great one, you're no longer the great one, the SmackDown is no longer the home of The Rock, you never hear, whatever. And it just randomly said, I'm superior than the man, Becky Lynch. So, it's just very easy to break all of those delusions. The Rock also said, just because you won King of the Ring doesn't mean you're the king. You dress up as a Burger King something. So, it's just The Rock being The Rock. I don't blame that. He probably brought in 1 million more viewers than would have tuned into a SmackDown without him. But I think they did Baron Corbin an injustice because the work he's been doing, I'm a fan of it. His ring work has improved significantly. The matches leading up to his victory against Chad Gable were nice. He's doing better. He understands his character better. His mic work is developing, which is why I was excited for this, but it turned out to be complete and utter demolition. So that was that. They got a lot of cheap pops. And this is my problem with the segment. No one benefited. You have The Rock, big-time movie star, technically a has-been. No offense to any fans. I love The Rock, but he is a has-been. You have no benefit of him getting all these lines, but I get why that happened. I'm sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here. But Becky Lynch, she doesn't benefit from insulting Baron Corbin. She just becomes cooler. Everyone knows she's cool. No one benefits from this entire segment. The only thing is Baron Corbin loses. And it puts down his character even further for no reason. It kills some of the momentum that he gained by winning King of the Ring. So that's my problem with it. Anyway, moving on. Becky Lynch and Charlotte defeat Bayley and Sasha Banks. Okay, Bayley tapped out to the figure 8. Charlotte looks strong going into Hell in a Cell. Spoiler alert, she wins and becomes a 10-time champion. I think they just wanted Charlotte Flair to say, I'm a 10-time champion on Raw during Miss TV, sharing the ring with Becky Lynch, who was also there for the segment. And, it was very transparent what was happening, too transparent. Bayley, I started to sort of like her character after Sasha Banks' return. It added layers to Bayley's character. She was no longer unidimensional babyface. She justified her actions of defending Sasha Banks by saying that she was being loyal to her friend, and that's it. They retained her very cheesy entrance music. Everything. So she was getting interesting, and I wanted her to retain the belt, but she lost. And you can just see that the 10 title reigns are going to expand, and she's going to rival Ric Flair's 16 World Championship record. It's all very transparent. So Charlotte wins, lol. Moving on. This one will probably be very short because, like they themselves say, once again, The Fiend strikes Seth Rollins. You have a Firefly Funhouse segment where Bray Wyatt just breaks an action figure of Seth Rollins. Pretty hilarious. He's amazing. He does an amazing work when he's doing his characters, himself and The Fiend. But Seth Rollins faces off against Shinsuke Nakamura in a nothing match. You just know it's going to get interrupted because they want The Fiend to appear. Of course, it's the first episode of SmackDown. They want The Fiend actually in the ring. And he came in the ring. Seth Rollins had the upper hand against Shinsuke Nakamura, was, doing his burn it down, good night to be a babyface. You just do all the cool things. And then the lights go off and Seth has to do his exaggerated thing when the mandible claw is being applied. It gets a little excruciating at some point. But anyway, so Bray Wyatt, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, strikes again. I don't know what it does for anybody, but actually, yeah, okay, it builds hype for the match, reminds everyone that there is a match for the Universal title, and it reminds everyone that Seth Rollins is legitimately afraid of The Fiend. Great. Fantastic. Moving on. Kevin Owens defeats Shane McMahon in a ladder match to have Shane terminated. A lot of people will say this is overdue, including me. I agree. This probably should have happened a month ago, and they could have done without the whole fraudulent referee You hit the referee and Kevin Owens' entire lawsuit angle. You could have done it without that. It was just shenanigans that didn't need to happen. I'm actually sad about Shane McMahon's heel character. Ever since he turned heel against The Miz, I for one thought that they didn't need to exchange roles. Miz became babyface and Shane McMahon became heel. He's not that awesome of a heel for some reason. He's a high flyer in the ring. He's a fan favorite, respected by a lot of people. And the only heat he can get is go away heat, which is sad because that was the whole reason for the Kevin Owens pipe bomb earlier this year. That McMahon was taking screen time away from Ricochet, Ali, all up and coming superstars. And it's not a good position to be in for Shane because he's naturally a babyface, at least according to me. But this match was fine for what it was from a storytelling perspective. It accomplished what it set out to do. I respect the hell out of Shane McMahon. Does all the daredevilry, jumping off of cages and whatnot, still doing those coast-to-coast moves. And then Kevin Owens comes back in the ring, topples Shane off the ladder, climbs the thing, wins, and Shane McMahon is gone from WWE programming for the foreseeable future, probably. Hopefully, he needs a little break. Whenever he comes back, I hope he comes back as a babyface. But anyway, either way, thank you, Shane. On a side note, Drew McIntyre, Revival, Elias with Shane had potential. I was not against it. I thought all of them could actually benefit from being a dominant heel stable under the guidance of Shane McMahon. That didn't pan out well. Anyway, that's sad. Moving on. Tyson Fury had to be held back because he wanted to go up against Braun Strowman after Strowman pretty much single-handedly defeated a four-man team of Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Robert Roode without a mustache, and Dolph Ziggler. On his team were Heavy Machinery and The Miz, but it was a nothing match. No one had any particular reason for being there. It was a match that was just there. Actually, it was kind of hilarious to see AJ Styles and Randy Orton share a ring together. It was legitimately hilarious. Because now AJ Styles has become a heel, and Randy Orton, after being the number one contender for the WWE Championship, is just one of the guys. So it was kind of hilarious to me. Anyway, the whole Tyson Fury thing. It's just Big Show versus Floyd Mayweather 4.0, maybe 5.0, just on a much smaller scale. Regardless of it being the premiere, it is nowhere close to WrestleMania. It doesn't need to be there, but I get why they're doing it. More eyes on the product. Maybe boxing fans will tune in just to get a glimpse of Tyson Fury knocking the hell out of Braun Strowman. I don't know. Braun Strowman, what a career he's had so far. It's a string of losses in very important stages. And he, to me, is just a comic book character so far. I'm really sorry because I actually like his body of work. I think he can be a very terrifying heel. A la Mark Henry from 2011, Hall of Pain. Braun Strowman, in interviews, has said that he likes his character, that the way it is, and the way he acts, his mannerisms and everything. And that he knows his character better than I do. Granted, no problem in me admitting that, but I just want him to be quiet. I don't want him to be doing, "I'm not finished with you," or the whole, "get these hands," because I think it just makes him very cringy. Again, he's a gifted high flyer. He runs faster than, I guess, Kane and The Undertaker could run in their prime. He's just very agile for someone his size, and I don't want to think about him being the guy who topples trucks and topples ambulances, loses against Roman Reigns, and does the whole "I'm so strong" thing, breaks a cello live on television, breaks cars. That's fine. We know he can do that. Just give him a good storyline where he actually comes out on the winning side. You've had him lose to Brock Lesnar, had him lose to Seth Rollins after kicking out of a number of curb stomps, but everyone's doing that these days, so it doesn't matter. I want him to matter. So, yeah. Moving on. Roman Reigns beats Eric Rowan in a lumberjack match, which was basically an advertisement for Reigns and Bryan going up against Eric Rowan versus Luke Harper at Hell in a Cell. And they won. Great. It was just, the token Roman Reigns victory on every SmackDown. It's not even hate. I get why he wins. Everyone loves him. Not, but the masses love him. Children. Merchandise selling. All those reasons. Reigns wins. Lol. Moving on. This entire segment deserves a video of its own, and I'm probably going to give it one. But the cliff notes are: Kofi Kingston had underestimated Brock Lesnar to the extent that the first thing he did after the bell rang for their WWE Championship match on the premiere of SmackDown on Fox, the first thing Kofi Kingston did was run toward Brock Lesnar, come crashing down on the canvas after an F5, and lose the WWE Championship. 1, 2, 3. From bell to bell, the entire contest was 9 seconds. I'll repeat a lot of this. I'm sorry, but it's important. 9 seconds. 9 seconds is all it took for Brock Lesnar. The same Brock Lesnar who lost to Seth Rollins clean. That same Brock Lesnar grew a beard, shaved it off for the premiere, looked fantastic, hit one move, and became WWE Champion. So that happened. Then you had, thankfully, some storyline advancement because Cain Velasquez... What? No. But yes, there was storyline advancement because Cain Velasquez came out alongside Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio and his son Dominik had been attacked by Brock Lesnar on the last episode of Raw, so this made sense that Rey Mysterio would be there. And Cain Velasquez is also there because why? They both speak Spanish? But anyway, Cain Velasquez attacked Brock Lesnar on the premiere of SmackDown Live. Makes sense. And Brock Lesnar was apparently very afraid of that, and Michael Cole said never before. Michael Cole or Corey Graves, either of them mentioned. One of them mentioned that it was the first time we had seen fear in Brock Lesnar's eyes. So we are forgetting the times when he saw fear at the sight of Goldberg, eliminating him from Royal Rumble, completely squashing him at Survivor Series 2016, and The Undertaker returning before WrestleMania and slamming him through the table, chokeslamming him. So we're forgetting all of that. This entire thing was really, really, really sad. Very sad for Kofi Kingston. And why? You'll see why, because I need to make a video for that. And a number of reasons. Not just Kofi Kingston. This is a tragedy for every other person involved in the entire reign of Kofi Kingston. Anyway, so that was the end of SmackDown. Let's just quickly go over Raw and we'll be set before the draft.